Chairman, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, to please come on the dais. Thank you very much for being with us, sir. We now request Shri J.S. Deepak, Secretary Telecom and Chairman Telecom Commission. Now request Mr. Akhil Gupta, Chairman TAIPA, Vice Chairman Bharti Enterprises. Mr. Umang Das, Vice Chairman TAIPA and Chief Mentor ETC. Mr. Hemant Joshi from Deloitte. I just like to inform you all that Mr. Kiran was MD and CEO of the Tower Exchange, was to come and he was held up last night at the airport because of some visa problem. So he has extended his apologies. Also, Mr. Srinivas, who was there at the meeting with the Chief Secretary, and at 3 o'clock he says, Mr. Dua, I am still stuck with the Chief Secretary. So he has also asked for apology. Therefore, I like to apologize on their behalf. Warm welcome to all of you. It's my great pleasure to have you all at the annual general meeting of TAIPA. And on behalf of all members of the TAIPA, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to Shri R.S. Sharma, Chairman TRAI, Mr. Shri J.S. Deepak, Secretary Telecom and Chairman Telecom Commission, Mr. Shri Akhil Gupta, Chairman TAIPA, Vice Chairman and Bharti Enterprises, Executive Chairman Bharti Infratel, Mr. Umang Das, the Vice Chairman TAIPA and Chief Mentor ATC, Mr. Hemant Joshi, Partner Deloitte. While I also like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. S.S. Sirohi, ex-member Technology Department of Telecom. Further, I like to extend my hearty welcome to all the CEOs of the member companies, Shri Vimal Dayal, Shri Amit Sharma, Shri D.S. Rawat, Shri Aire, Milind Bengali, Gurdeep Singh, who said he is not able to come, including my industry crews who are likely to join. They have said they're on the way, Mr. Matthews, Ashok Sood, Virat Bhatia, Pankaj Mahindra, etc. Also, a warm welcome to the representative of the TAIPA members, including ATC, Bharti Infra, Indus, GTL, Tower Vision, Reliance, who have led the infrastructure industry and pioneered the shared infrastructure business in India, which is unique and is replicated globally. The business model which has facilitated unprecedented growth in the telecom sector with over 1 billion subscribers and a tele-density of around 83%. All this has been possible due to the liberal policies of the government and a healthy regulatory environment. A very warm welcome to Mr. G.K. Upadhyaya, Member Technology DOT. Let's give him a big hand, please. Sir, may I now request Shri Akhil Gupta, Chairman TAIPA, to welcome Shri R.S. Sharma with a bouquet. And Mr. Umang Das to Secretary Telecom and Chairman Telecom Commission. Today evening's program will have brief presentations on the Indian tower industry, a presentation by Deloitte on its future scope of the tower industry and way ahead. We'll hear from Chairman TAIPA, Honorable Chief Guest Shri Sharma, and also Guest of Honor Shri J.S. Deepak. Without taking much time, I now request Mr. Umang Das, Vice Chairman TAIPA and Chief Mentor ATC India, to give us an overview of Indian telecom tower industry and I wish you have a great evening ahead. I think Umang is very well known, and I just read out a few data about him. Umang is spearheading the regulatory affair and related industry matter at ATC India. Prior to this, he was with Viom Network, now ATC Telecom Infrastructure Provider, as a chief mentor and managing companies' international ventures and forays into managed services in addition to the regulatory and policy matter. He was also the managing director and CEO of the Shrey Infocom. After having established the telecom business of Crompton B, he took over as managing director of Spice Telecom. His significant contribution to the telecom industry includes cellular mobile telephony business in the country, initiating the first mobile call in August. He is now the vice chairman of the. I think I can go on and on. I think it runs into pages. I now request Mr. Umang Das to share the TAIPA as industry. What is he looking forward to?
Good evening to you, friends in the audience, and a very warm welcome to our chief guest, Sri R.S. Sharma, and our guest of honor, Sri J.S. Deepak, as also Hemant from Deloitte. It's a great pleasure to have many of our other industry colleagues all together here, and our friends and esteemed guests from DOT and other institutions. We are all here on a very special occasion when TAIPA completes 6 years of its existence. And I'd like to say that the tower industry, which took birth in 2005-2006, subsequently all the major players from the private sector formed this Tower and Infra Association in 2010. I'd like to take this opportunity to give you a quick overview about this industry association. Can somebody assist me? Enlarge it. I'd like to give you a quick overview of this Tower and Industry Association. Essentially, we have all the major private players who participate in this association, and it works on the basic principle of equality. It works on the principle that everybody, big or small, has one vote. At the same time, it also works on the principle of win-win. And we work on the process of all decision-making is based on consensus. So these are the hallmarks of our association, that we work on consensus, we work on win-win principle, and we work on the basis that everybody is equal. Therefore, everyone's views are important to us, and we try to develop an approach where we work with the government, we work with other industry associations, we work with chambers of commerce, because we believe that ultimately if we have to move forward, it can only happen if we have a viewpoint which helps the government in its decision-making processes. It is in this context that I'd like to say that we have created a new vertical of an industry from 2005 onwards, an investment of over 250,000 crores, and supporting our TSP operators who are our prime customers in building up a 1 billion customer base and what is often talked about as the lowest customer tariff in the world. This has been made possible because of the backbone provided by the infrastructure providers, and today we stand tall primarily because of the joint working that we have closely done with our partners, which is the mobile operators. We have over 250,000 towers, which is a mix of government-owned, operator-owned, and also separately managed tower companies. Separately managed tower companies constitute almost 73% of the overall tower base, which would be in excess of 300,000 towers. And for the after 2005, this industry took off primarily because the government championed the project, what was called the Project MOST, the Multi-Operator Shared Towers. It is the government support which focused on sharing of towers, which helped in taking a pole position in this sector, and it was again based on the principle of transparency and non-discriminatory terms. This is actually a very unique business model, which is a unique innovation from India and based on all indigenous products, which has received a lot of attention and traction in the developing markets, particularly in Asia, Africa, and Eastern Europe. This is an Indian innovation. This is something which has captured the attention and therefore is getting spread at a certain speed in Asia and Africa and some parts of Eastern Europe. The basic principles on which this industry operates is sharing and the optimum usage of high investment resources. The other aspect of it is non-discriminatory for all the mobile operators, and it leads to massive savings in capex and opex, including energy costs, and provides us with a single-minded focus which results in faster rollout for our operators and overall contributes to what I keep on saying, a win-win format and leading to ease of doing business. I hope it's a great pleasure to welcome Rajan and Vikram here, who are our prime customers and who constitute, I guess, 99.99% of our revenue. And so whatever I hope I say, you are ratifying that by virtue of ease of business, focus, and working for you to ensure faster rollout. We have the benefit of consultants such as Deloitte and certain other leading consultants who assess that this market, where we have about 454,000 towers, is expected to grow in the next 4 years to cross the 500,000 mark. But more importantly is the sharing phenomena. Today, our sharing is of the order of 1.9, that means on an average close to 2 operators sharing a tower. Assessment by Deloitte tells us that it could go up to 2.48 in the next 4 to 5 years. And there are more ambitious and more optimistic estimates by some other consulting groups who would take us almost up to 2.9, 2.98. So therefore, there is a healthy projection of sharing and tenancy, which is the hallmark of this particular industry of ours. In addition to our contributions in terms of leading to the win-win model, we have also got significantly involved with power management. Power management came our way primarily because we had to move into the interior areas, and there we realized that this if you have to fulfill our commitments of 24/7 service and achieving a 99.99% uptime for our customers, necessarily we became not only tower cores but power cores in a way. And it is in that context that we have been working diligently towards how we can help and contribute from our point of view in reducing the pollution and diesel consumption, and also in terms of making it a cleaner air. In fact, if we really were to measure it, the diesel consumption of the tower industry out of the total of the diesel consumption in the country is only 1.54%, as has been assessed by Nielsen in a PPAC report which carried out an all India study. But notwithstanding that, we have been putting in our bit because we strongly believe that there is a big role that we can play in this direction. In fact, towards environmental protection, several steps have been taken by our tower members. One is to focus on what we can do, which is our direct focus on reducing the diesel consumption and leading to more and more diesel-free sites. The other is going in for several R&D initiatives in solar energy, in free cooling units, in biodiesel and also using more and more energy efficient storage technologies such as lithium-ion batteries. The result of that is that the total diesel consumption trend year on year on a per day basis, per tenant, has gone down from 7.5 liters per day to 4.6 liters per day in the time frame of the last 4 years. And at the same time, in our effort to ensure that we make more and more sites diesel free, we're glad to report that as many as close to 90,000 sites today, which would represent somewhere around 225% of the total base of over 400,000 sites, are today diesel free, where the DG set is more like a standby and only used for any emergency requirements. So this has been made possible because of our single-minded focus on providing customer service and ensuring that we are able to contribute to a pollution-free environment. While I have been talking about what we have been achieving and what we have been able to take our way forward, the fact remains that we work in a very challenging environment. There are some very significant challenges. No, don't worry. There are some, because I want to see both ways. There are some very significant challenges which are faced by our fraternity. This is, I would say, rather well known in our several interactions that we have had the benefit of meeting our Mr. J.S. Deepak, DOT Secretary, and so also making our submissions to the Chairman TRAI, and I'm sure it will be discussed further as we move forward in the session. But I'd just like to kind of highlight to you that the most significant aspect of it is in terms of, one is site acquisition, and also in aligning the DOT guidelines with the state policies and from the state policies in turn at the municipal level. In this context, I would say that obtaining municipal permissions and the very high permission fees which go contra to the guidelines of the DOT are some of the major concern areas which are being tackled, but this is something which we would like to draw attention, and it already has the understanding of the DOT and TRAI. And in this context, I'd like to mention the most outstanding support that we have received from both the TRAI and DOT, particularly in terms of the manner in which our DOT Secretary, Mr. Deepak, has done his outreach to the states, and in the way, not only by way of letters and directives, but more so by directly conducting seminars and various programs, which were the most extraordinary, and directly interaction with several stakeholders at the local city level. This is something which is something we had not witnessed earlier, and I'm sure will have a very major salutary effect as we move forward. At the same time, the opening up of government land and buildings as an area for improving the scope of our site acquisition, and also activating the term cells in the states are some extraordinary new initiatives which the government, with the regulatory guidance, has been able to take forward. At the same time, I would say that there are some inconsistencies in some of the government orders and policies which I'm sure will be straightened out as we move forward. But I'd like to say that the aspect that our whole creation is based on creation of infrastructure. Therefore, if whether in right of way or in other guidelines, we do not see ourselves covered, or when a parliament house is being invited for an IBS to be set up and we don't find ourselves in mention, it does cause us some pain and concern, and I'm sure this we have been able to convey both to our the DOT Secretary and the TRAI, and they are looking at it. I know that there are constraints, there are some legal aspects, but there are always answers to every problem. As long as we are able to see that infra industry must be on a level playing field, irrespective of whether it is within the ambit of the telecom operator or as an infra sector by itself. So I think this is something which will be dealt upon as we move forward. At the same time, I can say that this industry has a tremendous future potential, and therefore supporting the infra industry taking it forward in terms of the changing landscape of data networks, which calls for meeting our customers' requirements, which go beyond only voice connectivity, and therefore whatever equipments are involved to ensure that we are able to meet our customers' requirements is important. And in that context, we have made our submissions in the TRAI consultation paper for IBS. We have made our submissions to the DOT Secretary, and we believe that if we are clear that this is the way forward, we will be able to find solutions in that direction. I would therefore say, in summary, that these are some of the key support areas which we are requesting the regulator and the government to look at. One, alignment of the state tower policies with the DOT guidelines which were furnished way back in August 2013. We believe that no coercive action should be taken, like sealing of towers, etc., because this is like an essential infrastructure. We believe that joint action along with the state electricity boards to give priority and preferential connections to the need for the infra industry, and whatever amendments are required to ensure that we are able to meet the data network's requirements irrespective of what is the definition of active or passive, and implementation of the infrastructure status are some of the things which I'm not delving too much because I'm sure it will be covered further, but it's not something which is a news item because this we have been on several occasions drawing your attention. And overall, as an industry, we commit to provide towers to all our operators on a non-discriminatory basis, to provide for towers in a most cost-effective CAPEX and OPEX model with a single-minded focus to faster rollout for both for capacity and coverage, and to look beyond our traditional business models which can capitalize on the new opportunities arising out of data networks, whether it is IBS or Wi-Fi hotspots or fiberization of towers or whatever. And at the same time, overall, look at the larger picture of being an infrastructure partner in the implementation of our Honorable Prime Minister's vision for smart cities and digital India. So with this, I'd like to thank you for giving me an opportunity to give you an overview of TAIPA and the industry, and look forward to further interactions as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Umang, for giving the overview of the tower industry. Before I go on to the next, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of three generals that we have today with us. It's not Indian Army and Air Force, but they are all from Army for our safety. General Kocher, CEO TSSC, General Bhargav, Deputy Vice Chancellor MET, and General Chandel, the President-elect of IET. Am I correct? Yeah. Okay. Further, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Rajan Matthews, Vikram Jaina, and Mr. N.K. Goyal of CMAI. Further, thank you very much for being with us. Now, may I request Hemant Joshi, partner Deloitte, to give us further overview of the future of this industry. I would like to thank you very much for agreeing to our request last minute about 2 days back. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Mr. Sharma, Mr. Deepak, Mr. Gupta, Mr. Das, and Mr. Dua, dignitaries of the DAS, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Dua, for inviting me and share our thoughts, and it's absolutely a pleasure. Anytime you're welcome to call on us, and we'll be there for you. The advantage of speaking in the middle is that if you miss something, you can always say that the previous person has taken care of it, and you can always say that the next person will take care of it. So I'm absolutely set for this. I have been often asked in the media and other places in our internal Deloitte forums this whole experiment about the tower industry in this country. And, one of the replies continues, a constant reply I give is that this is one of the reasons that has enabled the telecom industry to optimize the CAPEX challenges, the lowest ARPUs, the lowest